Hello everybody, welcome back to the cabin. Welcome back to Commonwealth. Flipper, thanks for joining us today. I had a question the other day. If you started over, what would you do differently? So I'm going to answer that question today. I am going to talk about a system failure that we had, which might even relate to if we started over, what would we do differently? And I want to talk about that. And we're shipping out even more. Actually, I filmed this video. I don't know if you can see those packages back there. I'm filming this video just after I filmed the last video that came out a couple days ago on this channel because sales were so nuts. Plus, we were away, and I figured I needed an extra video while we were away. But we have some cool sales, and I want to give you a little peek into our goals that we've been setting. About 3 months ago at this point, we wanted to have everything pretty much gone by March, and we didn't quite make it, but we got really close. Some awesome sales, some big sales, some death pile sales headed out of here today. Let's go take a look. Now, I gotta say, this question that the person posed to me was actually about one particular topic, which is SKUs. Would I use SKUs if I had to start it all over again? Which I think is an interesting question. I'm gonna answer that in a minute. But it got me thinking about a bunch of other stuff. And I do want to talk about it for just a second. But this is a nice sale. The SK1 right here, Casio. A lot of Casio is worth some money. Some of the smaller ones. Sampling keyboard. And you just look up that number right there, SK1. You can look up different numbers and you can find out, which ones are worth money, obviously. But some of them aren't and some of them are large, but I like buying these small ones because some of them can go for good money. And this one did. It went for 90 bucks, I think. $90 plus shipping, and I think I took an offer on that one, actually. When I heard that question, I started to process a little bit and think, I was thinking like macro sense, big stuff. What would I do different that was large? And then I started to kind of filter it down into some smaller things, like a thermal printer, for instance. I would have got a thermal printer long before I got a thermal printer. But I want to talk about the big stuff first and then get to the rest of it. This is a full, actually, I'm not even sure if it's all of it. Actually, it might be all of it. I have to look at a picture, but this is a complete full set here of the 50-year anniversary of Mustang, and it has just tons of stuff in here. The book, it's got all these different things for each year the Mustang came out, the little promo sheet for each one. And this one went to a viewer, and it sold for $50 plus shipping. Actually, Mike Deathpile Picker, I owe this sale to because he saw it. I can't remember exactly how it shook down. It was I got a sale and he got a sale, and I got a sale and he got a sale. I think this was at my sale. But it was after I left it, and then he found it, and then he offered it to me. I'm like, shoot, heck yeah. And we've made some pretty good money on it. Not a massive home run, but this right here sold for what we bought everything for. So big thanks to Deathpile for that one. Hey, Kevin, still loving your content on the Picker, Flipper, and your live auctions and videos on Garage Sale Nation channel on YouTube as well. I have a Mustang myself, so I thought I must have this. Keep up the great work and always keep giving your opinion. Okay, most people don't like my opinion. I really like it. Greetings, John from the Netherlands. So John has bought from us multiple times. John, thank you very, very much. I'm glad you enjoy the program over there. And this is headed your way. I think there are 6 viewer sales today out of 20 sales. So thank you to everybody who purchased something. We'll give you all a thank you. What's that percentage? That's 30% of the sales. Last video, I think we had 3 out of 20. So we appreciate it. I started to think about space a little bit. What would I do differently for space? There's my Rollo. There's always a link down below to Rollo printer. And there are other options out there, y'all. I just have only ever had Rollo thermal printers, and they're amazing. I love them, so that's what I suggest. But I hear people say there's other ones that are just perfectly fine and all that. So I'm not getting into that. That's the political part of reselling. I'll tell you, I absolutely love this bench right here. I would have made that way sooner. I probably, look in macro sense, I probably would have quit my job sooner. I don't think I would have quit it way sooner because I wouldn't want to miss out on a lot of the baseball experiences as a coach that I had and stuff like that. And we weren't really financially ready to make that risk. But I think I would have quit sooner. And I would have, this is the biggest thing I would have done, and I suggest people do that out there, and some people listening to this have already done this, and you already know this. I would have made stronger connections way sooner. I'm only just now doing that. And I would have purposefully sought out people who could supply me with goods to resell. Now, I wouldn't have made it my whole business, because to me that's creating a job for myself where I absolutely love picking and I'm never going to stop, and I love going to garage sales and flea markets and estate sales and all that stuff. And even the occasional thrift store, I suppose. This was absolutely not one of my best buys. We're going to make money on it, but not one of my best buys, which is probably why it ended up in the death pile. And that's something I'd change. I'll talk about that in a second. What do they call these? Hi-hats? These hi-hats? I don't know. There's a set of 4 here. But they're clearly used and not in amazing condition. And they still sold $36 plus shipping. So yeah, number 1 on the list is I would have made more connections sooner. All kinds of different connections. But, you know, I don't know. I so enjoy what I do right now that I wouldn't want to change everything. But that is definitely something I would change. I would find maybe 10 different sources that were dependable. So that, you know, if thrifting goes downhill or it's a bad year garage sailing or something, you still have a steady supply of stuff and you can be more selective. I think that's another thing I would change. I would be much more selective in what I'm buying and actively search out items with a little bit higher ASP, actively search out items, not even in your own local area, but outside of your local area. You know, if you make those connections right with, you know, good ROI, good sell-through rate. I wouldn't make massive changes that way because I so enjoy what I sell. And that's one thing I think I did that was a good thing, is I sell things that I really enjoy. But I would also increase my knowledge in certain categories that I am still lacking in. You know, they say necessity is the mother of invention. And I think, you know, quitting my job a little sooner might have necessitated me getting into learning about certain topics. You know, I'm talking about my buddy Tim. I don't have any glass around, but he has incredible knowledge about glass, and he dug in and learned that stuff. And, you know, if I could expand my knowledge in like 5 or 6 categories, I think it would have been tremendously beneficial. And I have slowly over time, but I would have really dug into that a little bit more. This shirt right here, I paid $15. Matter of fact, this is a great example. I guess I'll talk about the shirt in a minute. You know, I went for years around this area, which was a great area to pick vintage clothing up. NASCAR stuff, hats, and stuff like that. And I didn't pick it up very much. I just didn't have this perception of great value in it. And I know vintage clothing, you know, 22 years ago wasn't exactly the hottest thing in the world. And so that came about a little bit. But still, I was a little late to the game. And if you immerse yourself into this world, like I've done for the last 7 years, even though I've only been on YouTube just a little over 4, I learned a ton. Just absolutely immerse yourself in this. Throw yourself right into the frying pan. Don't be afraid to make some mistakes. And then learn little things here and there. You know, when I started watching YouTube channels, I started to pick up things, and my profit went up. You know, it didn't go crazy really quick, but it expanded what I was picking, and I did much, much better. I would have done it sooner, and I would have accelerated that learning process a little bit more. I guess I didn't tell you what it sold for. I think I paid $15 for this one. It is an all-over print. There you go. See, that's a term I didn't even know till about 2.5 years ago or so. 1997, awesome shirt right there. It is not a single stitch, but it is an all-over print. And that one sold for $55 and change plus shipping, paid $15, and that was on 30% off. So we had it listed up there even higher. Look at me selling musical instruments, and this is not as a trombone. It is not a high-end one though, and it only sold for $40 plus shipping. Tell you what though, looking at what's selling today, you'll notice these bigger items, and last video as well, big items. It's because that stuff's been sitting in my death pile. And so I would have really started to process how much work goes into each type of item a little bit quicker than I did. I got a pretty good handle on that now. I've gotten pretty good at shipping, so it didn't bother me that much. But the thing I think I would have done much sooner as well was create a system. I've always had systems. I've always worked with systems, but I would have created a system that forced my hand into accelerating the listing process and really curtailing the buying process unless it's an absolute incredible opportunity until you process things. So people ask me all the time, wouldn't you rather have a bigger, when I bought this shed, when I bought that shed, why are you doing that? Why wouldn't you put in a huge building? And actually, you know, well, to be honest, part of this is because of social media, right? This is a different atmosphere, and it works better in social media than some giant metal building with a really high roof, and the audio's absolutely terrible and the visuals aren't good. So part of it is that. Part of it is my wife would have killed me with a giant metal building back there as opposed to 2 cute little sheds. She kind of is okay with that. One thing I certainly would not have done in regards to space is to get something off of my property, lease a building or something like that. And I know a lot of people do. I wouldn't even do storage units. And a lot of people have to, right? Depending on where you live. I don't. I've got some land here and I've got these buildings. But I would have zero desire whatsoever to have a commercial property and to do... I love Pete. I've watched Pete Craigslist Hunter for many years. And I don't even think he would have done it that way again. You can run this business without having employees and scaling up. And in my opinion, be much happier. That's just my opinion. I'm not saying it's the wrong thing for everybody. This is probably something I wouldn't have bought. Spineworks right here. My family used this for a while because they thought it was cool, and I think it's kind of silly, but hey, I don't know. Somebody liked it. This only sold for $24 plus shipping. And I really do think that comes down to preference. I don't want to spend my life managing other people. I want to manage myself. I want to wake up when I want to. I want to go to bed when I want to. I want to buy the things that interest me. I want to sell the things that I think are fun. At the same time, you got to make enough money to do it. So looking back, there are a few things I would change. I would accelerate things quicker. But let me tell you, I really am very happy where I'm at right now. Matter of fact, as far as reselling goes, forget social media right now. The way I resell right now is, it makes me the happiest I've ever been. Especially in the last month. Because I've really been disciplined enough to get through everything. I feel like I've got a new lease on my reselling life. Maybe we'll go out in the other shed in a minute. Matter of fact, I think I have to pull something here in a second to show you. I do. Got to pull something from that other shed. And we've made such progress. And we do have help come in every once in a while. Like I said, we get Jess every once in a while when we get a massive job we got to get through. She helped us with those G.I. Joes, and she helps us with whatnot. And, of course, Bub's girlfriend helps with whatnot as well and doing some of the listings. So I guess, I don't know if that's hypocritical, but we're talking just a few hours a week compared to owning a business and having employees that are working 40 hours a week for you, or 30 or 20 or whatever it is. That is not me. And I don't regret doing that, not doing that at all. I would have never wanted to do that at all. So I talked about some of those macro things I might have changed, but micro things I would change, other than the printer right there sooner, is I would have probably bought boxes sooner. I know it's a cost. I know a lot of people disagree, and it's not the right thing for everybody, especially at the early stages, but it created a huge mess in some of my other spaces. And that mess could have a negative effect on your family life. I'm fortunate to have this. But I used to run a business that it doesn't make as much money as it does now. But my eBay business, when I started YouTube, did pretty darn good. And we did it all out of that one eBay room in there. And it was tight. And you had to be creative in order to store stuff. But the death pile couldn't survive in there. And so it kind of started to spread into the living spaces. And, you know, I would have made sure sooner that I would have kept that space separate, my living space versus my working space. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean it's not in a house or not in a garage or not in a basement room or something like that. But it crept into my living space with my family. And I hated that. It drove me nuts, and it didn't excite me about reselling. And I have to be organized. So I think that organizational process would have been a little bit quicker, a little bit better. And, you know, it didn't take much space. I mean, we're selling a ton of stuff out of this little space right here. Now, granted, having a dedicated space in there in that other shed, which we're going to go to in a second, has really changed it. I think that we can do 40 to 50% more business than we're doing right now just because of that building out there. Because the processing is way, way better. I don't leave stuff in my truck for a week until the next garage sale day I have to go out to. You know, it goes directly into that building. And now, because we've done what we've done over the last month or two, it's going to get sorted quickly. And I would have done things that I'm doing now, like bundling things up and selling them off quicker and focusing on the higher dollar stuff. I would have done that stuff much sooner as well. And boy, the criticism I took, y'all, for putting this building out here as opposed to right next to the other one or getting a bigger building. It was crazy, but I'm happy. I'm happy with the decision for multiple reasons. It's not that far away. It really isn't. And once stuff is got pictures and listed, not even listed, just have pictures, we move it into there. This is a little art glass piece. See, I would have learned glass much sooner. I think it's Murano or Murano style or whatever. I don't know if it's got any markings on it. Anyway, this one right here, I had it listed for $34, and we sold it to Cheryl. And I think you're a viewer. I thought you were a viewer when you sent me the offer, and you ended up grabbing it for $25. And I don't, you know, that's a pretty good discount, and I think it would have sold. It had some watchers, but I had a suspicion you were a viewer, and I like that piece, so it's headed out your way. But man, I think I took you out here a couple videos ago. But we have really done a number. I know it might not look like it in here, but these things were all empty. Look, empty, 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 empty. And we had stuff in different places. This whole thing up here was full. Now it's completely empty. Those are empty bins right there. So we have done a ton of work. We're even starting to go through some of these things back here at this point, which is the last of it. And we pulled that stuff out from upstairs and we've put it here. This stuff's empty here. Most of this is empty here. All this is empty here, and I'm excited about the springtime for sure. So thank you again to Cheryl. I love that piece. It says your way. One last thing about space. I'll just say this. This is 12 by 24 minus the front porch. So it's not even that big. That one's 12 by 24 out there. I don't know. Maybe this is crazy, but I really think because of what we've done over the last few months and the system that is in place now, where you have a dedicated space for incoming, sorting, testing, cleaning, pictures, and then you have a dedicated space for items that are for sale. You know, it doesn't have to be two separate buildings. It could be the same exact location. You know, just a bigger building or whatever, a garage, where you have dedicated spaces and organization. You know, here's our shipping station. Every single thing that we ship is here. It used to be different because we'd bring things in here to get pictured. And so we'd have to bring them in here. And then you had stuff that wasn't listed in here. You'd have piles everywhere. And then you'd have to ship stuff that did sell. And it was just a pain. You know, things didn't run smoothly. And now they're running smoothly. I can go out there one day if I want to and just take pictures. I can go out there and just test. I can go out there and just clean. Or I can sort. Or I can make lots. You know, there's all kinds of different options, but I can do that in a dedicated space and stay focused on whatever the task is. When I come in here, it's time to pick orders. It's time to ship orders. And I really think in these two spaces, I think a business could well, I'm not going to say easily. Space-wise, there's a lot of work involved, so don't misunderstand me. I think space-wise, if you're a good sourcer and you have, you know, connections and you get the right stuff, you could easily do $250,000 in this small of a space. Tell me if you think I'm crazy. Also tell me down below things you might change, macro and micro. I just went down to pick up Reagan from gymnastics and I put my life in jeopardy, put my body between Wallen, No Name, and a possum, and it was getting ugly, but we all survived, even the possum. Those creatures just are not, oof, something about a possum. All right, there are 2 butter dishes in here. So one is smaller than the other, and we put them together to get to our $15 right there, because one of them wasn't gonna make it, so we put them together. $15.95 plus shipping on those 2 Tupperware butter dishes. And there's a 5% off on that one, so that means it's probably a viewer because you can use code Commonwealth. I don't publicize that, but I do on the channel. And so Roxanne bought that one. I'm buying Tupperware. Commonwealth is indoctrinating me. Thank you for the great videos and history lessons. Roxanne, thank you for always supporting us, and I hope these come to good use. Although I don't know why you need 2, but I know a lot of people buy these and they use them for camping. They use them for, you know, going out in their trailers and traveling and stuff like that. When I went to pick up Reagan, I was thinking of small things that I would have done differently, and this is one of them right here. I did not buy poly bags soon enough, not even near soon enough. I was so cheap, it cost me money. So I would get boxes for free at school. I'd ask the janitors. I got real friendly with the janitors, you know, doing nice things and giving them gift cards and stuff. And they would supply me with boxes and bubble wrap, and they would put them by the door as I left. They knew which door was closest to my car, and I'd pick them up as I went home. But I would use that stuff instead of poly bags on clothing and all kinds of items. You can use it on plush, and it would bump the weight up just enough that you'd get to the next level, and it would cost you more money than the poly bag would have cost you. Not to mention it cost you space. So this is the question that started it all. It's, would you use a SKU system? So I don't use a SKU system. I use like items, similar items. These are all toys, for instance. So that's the way I do it. This is where my plush is. If I sell something that's plush, here you go. You know, I don't have SKU systems, boxed items, that kind of stuff. These are mostly toys here, shoes down here. There's toys there. You know, this is miscellaneous here and there. I've got shoes, and they're divided into bins that are, you know, boots. You know, boots are here too. Adults, kids, purses, bags, you know, backpacks kind of stuff. I have some miscellaneous. I have, you know, blankets here, banners here, home goods, automotive. I've got hats here. I've got media here, all divided into sections. I mean, I've basically got like items. This is the type of thing that would be here. I don't even know how to describe my system. Here's jeans. I've got Vera Bradley purses there. I've just got a like item system. And of course it extends out here to some degree. But this part I absolutely love is I can see things. And so when I'm going to pick items, I'll see an item that might sell the next day and I know where it's at. It is not for everybody. And I don't suggest people don't do a SKU system, but I don't do one, and I hate it. It's probably the right thing to do, but I would not do it again. I still wouldn't do it if I could start all over again. And part of that has to do with the fact that my wife probably wouldn't do this business without me. She wouldn't. Something happened to me or something. But every once in a blue moon, it costs me. You might remember me selling this the other day. Well, I could not find it for the life of me. This would have typically gone here. Would have typically gone right here, but you see it was full. So it ended up going down here, and this was a perfect place to put it. And I totally forgot that it was there, and it got covered up by some other things, and I absolutely could not find it. So I sent a message to the buyer. I sent them something so I didn't have to cancel the order, and then I found it 2 days later. Relisted it, same person bought it. I sent them a message. So, at any rate, $34.95 plus shipping. Now, I will say that rarely happens, but it does happen from time to time. But I do hear people that have SKU system that happens to as well. So, I don't know. It's like the thermal printer. What type of thermal printer do you use? As long as you're using one, you're probably all right. I mean, unless you're, you know, if you're not using a thermal printer, I kind of get it. You know, I was cutting out this stuff and doing all that for years and buying ink like crazy. And, you know, I just, man, when I got that thermal printer, I was like, my life changed. It was amazing. But it's still the right thing. Nobody needs to start this business and go get a thermal printer. You need to make sure you're in it for the long haul. But once you know you're in it for the long haul, I'd do two things. I'd get a store. I'd get an eBay. You know, if you've got 250 listings and you don't have a store, I think you should. Although, my guy back here, Pete, I still don't think he has a store, which is odd to me, but he says he has a reason for it. I guess I should thank Cynthia, who bought this thing originally, and now it's finally headed your way, which made me happy when I found it. Every time I see this next item, I tell myself I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to do it, and then I do it and it sells. So I guess they're worth picking up. These phones right here, Panasonic, be careful, VTechs don't go for very much money, but, you know, buy these, you buy a box of them and you sell them off. This sold for $16 plus shipping. Every time I buy fish finders, they wind up in my death pile, but when I finally get them listed, they sell. I do like to pick them up cheap though, because you really can't test these things out too good, so you sell them and, you know, test them as you can, but it's not like you're taking your boat out there, right? This is a Cuda. This is an Eagle. Is this even the right one? Is it an Eagle Cuda? I think this is it. I'll have to double check, but $40 plus shipping. That actually reminded me of something. It reminded me of two things. Since I'm going to shield something, I might as well shield two things. One is shrink wrap. I used to never use shrink wrap. And this allowed both of these to stay together, which isn't a big deal. Shrink wrap's cheap. And, you know, there's parts and accessories, and I hate it. I used to ship something off and there'd be one part missing or something. And so doing a little shrink wrap has really helped. So I would have done that sooner. That's over there at American Bubble Boy. You can check that out. Code Commonwealth, 5% off. And then bubble wrap. You know, one thing I definitely would have done sooner is start buying from American Bubble Boy. And I know this sounds like an ad. I guess it is an ad. But in all seriousness, if you don't remember a year ago, the whole Bubblegate, where almost every single company, matter of fact, every single company isn't giving you the right amount of bubble wrap. And that everybody became very aware of that, of course. And the only one that does at this point is American Bubble Boy. And I still believe that that is the case. And at least you know what you're going to get. And it shows up in a day or two. And I would have bought from them far sooner. I probably bought tons and tons of bubble wrap I thought was cheaper, but was actually more expensive because they didn't give it to you. So there's my plug for Joel, my go-to tape, and American Bubble Boy. You know, if you've been watching my show for a while, I'm the when in doubt, part it out guy. And I would have done one other thing different. I love parting things out. But now I do the skinny strip on most everything, where if there's 6 items that you part out, this isn't the best example, but the ab lounge is. I used to part out every single part. And inevitably, the sell-through rate on some of the parts are really, really bad. You end up with like 8 of them, and they just hardly ever sell. And so I've just started not listing those at all. I'm just picking the ones that do have high sell-through rates, selling those, and discounting the ones that have low sell-through rates, and getting things going quicker. Rock Band, pedal, and this one sold for 19 plus shipping. So not spending time on low sell-through rate items. Some low sell-through rate items are okay if the profits are big. But if the profits are small and the sell-through rate is small, I'm wondering what I did here. This is a minor league hat, but I'm pretty sure I would have put it here in the MLB bin for hats. And I have nowhere to put this thing. Y'all, we've been selling so much lately. It's been awesome. We've been working hard, so I'm glad that it's paying off. Here it is right here. I think this is the one, although there might be 2 Hillcat ones. I don't remember the green one selling. Maybe it did. There it is. This is the one that sold. Doesn't that look like Penn State right there? The colors. But the Hillcats. Whenever you can find the minor league hats, see that's the same. The minor league new era hats, especially if you can find 5950s. This is a 950 snapback. But when you can find new era minor league hats, they usually sell for pretty decent money. And this one did. It sold for $18 plus shipping. That's another thing I would have done far sooner. I hope this is the right shirt. I think it is. Just the picture appears so much more bright than this one. Is that I would have subdivided those hats, stored them better, made them easier to find when I sold one way sooner. This is an XL Harley shirt right here. Pretty nice one, and we took an offer on it. It would have sold a little higher, but we took the offer because we're crowded with clothing right now. Sold for $20 plus shipping, and I've got some folks that want some treats. No Name is not happy that these are in her seat, his seat. There you go. Oh, I did all that, and she doesn't even want it. This was amazing. I'll tell you what, I'd have used paper a lot sooner, too. For sure. I might have, I'd buy mine, but, some folks can find it out there. I know some newspaper places have it, too. And kids' Crocs right here, little baby Crocs. These sold for $10.95 plus shipping. I sold some Tupperware cups. I got yelled at in a video the other day for being cheap. There's a bunch of Tupperware cups with the sippy cup lids, and the sippy cup lids are actually fairly valuable. Well, more valuable than you might think for sippy cup lids. But I left some behind because they were completely chewed on. They're almost always chewed on, but these were completely messed up, and I didn't take all the cups because they were damaged, and I got a little discount off of it, and they thought I was cheap. But you know what? If you're only going to get $14.95 for something, then you want to save $1 if you can, and that's what I did. And that was $14.95 plus shipping. Here you go. See you later. $14.95 plus shipping. I would probably cut bait with stuff a little sooner. These were selling pretty good for us, and then they stopped. I put them on 30% off, and now they're headed out the door, and we're barely making any money at all. We got them for free though. What do they sell for? $6.65 free shipping. But we made our money off of them. And now we're just trying to get them out the door and still making a few bucks because they're already listed. All right, Turner, no Commonwealth comedy today, but Jeffrey bought something and I thought you might think was cool. So what do you think of these baseball cubes?
Pretty cool.
Would you like one?
Yeah.
I can delist one and you can put one of your game balls. Did you get a game ball?
Yeah.
Yeah, last year, or maybe something for this year. So I thought maybe that would be something. Reagan has all those medals, and you got some trophies and stuff, and you got rings and all that. But I thought maybe you'd put like a game ball in there. What do you think? So we'll give you one. But let's thank Jeffrey. He says, "Thanks, Kevin. Really enjoy the Picker and Flipper channels, and who knows, one day I may be using this ball holder for a Turner autographed baseball." Do you think that's possible? Do you think one day you'll autograph a ball? That'd be cool. Huh? Turner really loves baseball, y'all. All right, no Commonwealth comedy today, but say thanks to Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
I'll tell you one other thing I'd change, and this goes back to my very early days of doing YouTube videos. I used to leave vintage clothing behind if it wasn't in great condition. You'll see there's condition issues all over this, and I left some gems behind in the past because of condition, and I just didn't know. Thanks to Chernock and Tim over the years and OBX, I learned many, many years ago. Started to pick it all up. All this stuff has value. Even something as generic as this iron and metal. Look at that right there. It didn't sell for much. This isn't a great example, but this is a softball t-shirt. Somebody's team was iron and metal back in the early 80s or 70s. Probably 80s on this one. And this one sold for $11 plus shipping. I just realized that the next two are viewer sales, but the last one, the breast cancer one, was a viewer sale, and I didn't read it. Hello, thanks for the offer. I'm a fan of your videos. I was wondering if you combine shipping. I'm about to buy also a mini book keychain, so this is the next one. So it's the same viewer, bought multiple things. So yes, if you ask before we make the order, I'll combine the shipping, absolutely, for sure. So we're going to do that. You bought those breast cancer pins, and you bought a red Tasmanian Devil mini book keychain, and the keychain was $10.40. Looks like you bought a blue Taz one as well, and you bought a Marvin the Martian keychain. So thank you very, very much. 4 sales to one person. That counted as 3 of my sales. 2 of them were combined on here today. So we really do appreciate it. Let me see if you wrote anything else I should read here. I was wondering if no, we already got that. Not much else other than to say thank you. And she says she loves the videos, and it's Linda. So Linda, we do appreciate it. Hope you enjoy all that. Let me go pick up these keychains. I guess there's another change that I didn't quite pick up on fast enough, although I was pretty early on with it, to be honest with you, is I would actively seek out, hunt out multi-quantity deals. Because even at the low dollar amount, you can make money over time. So there's that one. I'm going to pull them out with both hands here in a minute. But one of these, and then a red Taz. I think that's the one we're getting low on. Let's see if I can even, whoop. It might be, no. There it is right there. There's the red Taz one. And I would probably organize this, and I still can. I like having all these guys on here, of course, but I should organize it a little better. And I have a loose organization in here, like, I'll put jewelry in this one, for instance, most of my jewelry, but I got other stuff in here as well. And now I'm looking for a Cadillac hood ornament. And see, there's Cadillac, but that's not the one I'm looking for. And so I've got it kind of mismatched up here, and it's not great. I need to organize this in the label. But these, for right now, this is just like small stuff is what I put in here. So, where's the caddy? See, this takes me too long sometimes, so maybe I'll attack this one next and try to figure out a better system. See, I'm really struggling here, y'all. So I started back at the top again, and see, it was sitting right there all along, and I missed it. But how easy would it be to be like jewelry, right? And then all the jewelry would be in here. How would it would be pretty easy to do things like when in doubt, part it out in here. So these are missing parts or that kind of stuff. Or it could be like jewelry and lighters, but I don't know. I usually find it within the first drawer or two, so it's not that big a deal. This one I picked up down there in Florida at the Webster. Picked it up from Relics in the Attic, and I paid $5 for it, and it sold fairly quickly after I finally listed it for $18.95 plus shipping. So not a huge winner, But man, super easy and super easy to ship. Oh, Wallen is laying down in here, aren't you? And Reagan's got some tough names, so bear with her. Some sales. For some number 2s, what do you got?
Tammy. Wait.
Shire Solutions.
Cher's Cozy Closet, and Shaylin.
And Shaylin got that. Yeah.
ET.
She got the ET lot. So you may remember us talking the other day. We did a fundraiser on dibdit.com. And we put every single ET pin we have and every single ET necklace, earring, all that stuff. There's 16 in all, and she took it out of here. And she is donating all that money. We're donating all that money that she sent us to the van for Isaiah House for Mary over there. So thank you. And the number 2s were gone off of CommonwealthPicker.com. I put 5 more back up. They may be gone by now. We had, that's all we have. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the rest we have over on Whatnot. And we'll see after that because we got a few tubs inside. So thank you, Ray.
Bye. And don't forget to get your sticker at CommonwealthPicker.com.
All right, so I didn't storyboard this video like I normally do. So I was talking off the top of my head. So I want you to do the same down in the comments below. What is it out there that you... Well, you know what? I just thought of another one. And this is another, shameless plug right here. I'll tell you what, and I've said this, and this does not apply to everybody. Some of you are numbers people and you handle this stuff very well. I made so many mistakes accounting-wise. I should have got somebody to do my taxes long before, and I should have had an organization system, like I eventually got, and I talk about my reseller Genie all the time, and I can't say enough about it. Matter of fact, on the next video from a couple videos ago, we're going to give away 1 month free in all of our Whatnot shows. Go check them out, by the way. We got a bunch of stuff coming up, still trying to clean it all out. Some really good items, some fun items as well. But I would have definitely made that investment much sooner. If you decide to do that, if it's right for you, there is a link down below. Use code Commonwealth, you'll get 15% off. But in all seriousness, even if I wasn't plugging my reseller Genie, which I love them, they're awesome people, Faith and Paul. Even if I wasn't doing that, I would still have that suggestion on my list because it absolutely changed my mindset. I would, even in Q4, I would start dreading what was coming because I hated it that much. And now there are so many ways that you can help yourself not only just alleviate your stress in your mind, but to actually save you money because you're organized and you're taking all of the deductions that you should be taking. And I bet you so many people don't. There's one more real quick. There are people out there selling on eBay who go to the post office and pay retail for shipping. If that's you out there, you don't have to tell me it's you. If you're embarrassed, don't do it. Get that shipping discount. I cannot tell you how many people I come across that still do that. They'll talk about how much it is to ship something. I'm like, there's no way it's that much to ship it. You need to either, I just ship it right off of eBay, use their shipping system, and a lot of people use the QR code and all that stuff, or use Pirate Ship or whatever. But don't stand in line and pay retail prices at the post office. All right, I'll get off of my soapbox for now. You give me your things you would change if you could rewind time and go back to when you started. What would you change? Tell me in the comments below. Thank y'all for joining us, and I can't wait to see you next time.